In a life filled with unnecessary thoughts, where we are bombarded with loud thoughts, Gautama Buddha's teachings, which never said that we need to stop thinking, teach us to take a transformative path to quiet this constant chatter of thoughts. As excesses of our busy lives have intensified, this overthinking falls hard on us and creates stress, anxiety, and an oppressive fear that we are being overtaken by our own thoughts. Yet, there is hope. Mindfulness and the wisdom taught by Buddha helps us discover 10 invaluable interlaced strategies to release our minds from the grip of too much ruminating. Number 1. The art of mindfulness. Picture mindfulness as a smooth, slow-flowing stream, calm, steady grace to its waters, rejecting lost branches, leaves, and all the silt build-up obstruction it can avoid. As we start to travel this stream, which becomes a metaphor for mindfulness itself, it is also a basic part of Buddhist meditation practices. Mindfulness is when you occupy mind and spirit by being deeply aware of your experience from moment to moment, in the here and now, without having to label it good or bad, should or not should. Mindfulness practice encompasses breathing techniques, imagery, etc., to relax the body and mind and to help reduce stress. In this state of mindfulness, you are aware of what you're thinking and what you're feeling, but you do not label that as good or bad. Mindfulness is not about letting life pass you by, but about fully living in the moment, waking up to the being in the now, not dwelling on the past or daydreaming of the future. To drive your mind into a mindful state, imagine you're training your mind to concentrate like the stream does, without stopping, without thinking random, scattered things. You can step out of the unstoppable churn of overthinking that makes stress and anxiety. You can step out of the unstoppable churn of overthinking that makes stress and anxiety. When you learn to be grounded and to be in the present moment, you have the opportunity to experience life around you more fully. Number 2. Observe your thoughts. Mindful observation is taking a moment to watch your thoughts with a sense of detachment. Imagine your usual modes of thinking as a complex, entangled web you'd step back from. It is a web of every thought, each a strand. By looking at the strand, you can know the structure of it without getting tangled. Buddha's teachings are that we should observe our thoughts without judgment. It's staying away from calling thoughts and feelings as good or bad and reacting to them emotionally. Most, however, you just put them down. You see the clouds in the sky rise by and you watch them, but they don't become you. When you observe thoughts like this, it's like you're coming up over the top of a maze-like complexity of the mind. This allows you to see the paths that you've allowed your thought patterns to take. This was very empowering. It helps you to become familiar with and a little more free from your thoughts. It means that you can navigate through your mental processes more clearly, more easily, and the mental labyrinth you were in before frees you to move on as you were never able to before. Number 3. The middle way. The middle way is a Buddhist concept that speaks ideally about finding balance in all circumstances of life, especially relevant for anything that we all seem to struggle with, overthinking being a college of many. This philosophy, the balanced approach that Buddha taught as a means to enlightenment and inner peace, is at its heart, the middle way. This is the golden mean, escaping the extremes of self-indulgence and self-mortification. The middle way is in terms of our mental states, either our thoughts or our feelings. And let's dive into how the principle of oversimplification can be applied to the case of overthinking. Overthinking often means getting stuck in loops on a single thought or a bunch of them. Endless loops. The loops so endless that the paralysis caused by analysis is almost physical. Some also try to counteract overthinking by trying to suppress their thought entirely in efforts to achieve a blank mind, which also can create stress and be unproductive. We learn from the middle way how to move between these extremes. This is the practice. Rather than clinging to a thought and making it the center of all attention, it is simply to notice it and leave it alone. Letting the thoughts run wild isn't what's meant by not thinking. It's seeing them fly without judgment. Without being the key word. It says the same thing about fighting thoughts too, that while fighting them may seem like a good idea, as you do it, it only creates resistance, causing the thoughts to become further and more deeply entrenched. Instead, Buddhism urges us to gently release our investment in thoughts so that we might live in the state of mind of clarity and calm. It means we can walk this tightrope known as the middle way, walking between the poles of extreme and immoderate. True serenity is found in this equilibrium. Yet, as my mind wouldn't allow me to simply think and be present, I didn't want to force my mind into silence, and I didn't want to be swept away by the currents of overthinking either. We can live a more mindful, serene life by not allowing ourselves to have a peaceful coexistence with our thoughts. This may take the form of practical meditation practices, using the breath or bodily sensations to anchor the mind, to keep it here, as opposed to being distracted into thought. What it also means is building a mindset of self-compassion, knowing that thoughts are normal, as it puts no one down, or portrays weakness or failure due to running the show in one's head. It is by enlightenment of the middle path that one may be helped to overcome the overthinking by possessing a compassionate, practical way suited for all, encouraging balance, acceptance, and mental peace. Number 4, let go of attachments. In Buddhism, you have to understand because clinging too tightly to desires can cause you suffering. Like this, if we cling too hard to our thoughts, we can turn into an overthinker. Becoming freed from this cycle can be very hard. To escape it, Buddha has taught us to learn the wisdom of letting go, quite literally, especially with regard to letting go of thoughts. You've got to understand that thoughts are transient. They come and they go, and they don't have to be who we are. This means in practice, observing your thoughts without any judgment attached. When the thought keeps coming back to you, notice that it is nothing but a fleeting thought. It doesn't have to dictate your emotions or actions, and you don't have to hold on to it. This mindset embracing of it means you're less present, less of a quotient to your thoughts that never happened and the ones that will. It can make you have more clarity in mind and be more balanced in life. Remember, what you think is only a thought. They don't have the power to control your life. They will pass away, like things floating in the sky, and you will be at peace in the absence of what they come to be. Number 5, cultivate compassion. In Buddhism, they term compassion a key pillar of emotional well-being, called karuna. Compassion at its roots is the deep yearning to address the suffering, to the extent that we can, whether it's our own or that of others. This is not just understanding, but instead a compassionate, active intention. Compassion, however, can be a very effective antidote to overthinking when it takes hold. Worrying and chewing over the negative things that could happen, especially things that won't probably happen, are ways of overthinking, which often makes you feel miserable or stressed out. Compassion helps to break this cycle by giving us the space to notice the distress we're feeling without judgment. This is the first step in cultivating compassion. It's about recognizing the pain without self-criticism or harshness. If we admit our distress, we can then commit to looking for and finding relief, being kind to ourselves as we would be to a friend in distress. Self-compassion, merely practice of caring and taking care for ourselves in the same way as we would do for someone that we love who is suffering. It's about telling ourselves it's hard right now, and that's okay to feel sad. Let's get through this together. Self-compassion helps to quiet the inner critic, which can often fuel overthinking. It's relentless, churning that critical voice over and over that makes us feel not good enough, not skilled enough, that just exacerbates anxiety. Practicing self-compassion redirects that inner dialogue to one that is friendly, kind, and supportive. Think of your mind as a tempestuous sea, and overthinking is like a storm. The soft, humble breeze that you need to calm the waters is the compassion. Response to suffering with compassion is like any other skill. It takes practice. The more we practice it, the more natural it is and the quieter our minds will get. With more compassion for ourselves, we might also naturally extend that to others. The mere fact we recognize our shared humanity and understand we all want to diminish suffering, a common desire, can leave us more connected to one another, feel more empathy, and understand. By growing kindness, we decrease our own overthinking as well as create a kinder world. It starts within, knowing we'll be kind to ourselves, and radiates outward, creating ever larger circles of care in our lives. Number 6. Practice patience. Buddhism holds patience as one of its most deeply held virtues. Patience is necessary for getting up and down in life. This is the soothing remedy to the self-inflicted wounds of impatience and restlessness that, rather than being soothed further, give birth to overthinking and mental turmoil. Practicing patience is to practice calm endurance in the face of what is happening now, the natural unfolding of events. That's like stepping back and seeing the complexities of life with the acceptance rather than the resistance. This is how to approach what's going on in our inner world in relation to the stream of our thoughts and emotions. Gently present ourselves to the flow of thought, the flow of emotion, and not press it to solve it or to immediately pick it apart and analyze it. A patient approach to this can calm the sense of urgency at times associated with overthinking. When we don't solve everything right away, we open up our mental process to unfold naturally. Increasingly, thoughts and feelings, like silt in a disturbed river, settle and over time allow clarity and peace to be created without, as the Chinese would say, making a batch. By practicing patience, we slow our internal rhythm to match the natural pace of life. We learn to sit with overthinking, observing it with compassionate curiosity rather than frantic urgency. In doing so, we not only reduce our tendency to overthink, but also make space for wisdom to arise from a calm and steady mind. Number 7. Simplify your life. When enclosed in chaos and complexity, the mind, time and again, can take endless paths to overthink. In order to solve this, you need to simplify your life not only in terms of possessions, but also how you rearrange your life to allow the mind to flow serenely and clearly. First, assess your environment, the places where you devote the largest amount of time. Take a moment to assess each object in your space. Is it useful or is it fun? If that's not the case, it may be exacerbating sensory overload and cognitive strain. Decluttering your environment means you make an orderly, peaceful environment with less of external distractions and mental clutter. A critical review of how we spend our time is also part of simplifying life. What could you do differently in your routines? Streamline or even eliminate tasks? Are you doing what you should, or are you going with the flow? Being able to learn to say no to non-essential entities that take your time and energy is not selfish, it's about your welfare. Stress and mental fatigue come from overcommitting. It's a powerful tool to manage your mental load, to say no when necessary. When you limit what you commit to, such that you really only have to commit to what matters or feels fulfilling, then you can focus on what really matters. This way, simplifying your life helps you make space to create a place overthinking isn't flourishing. With a less is more philosophy, you create an environment and lifestyle which encourage mental peace. In this simpler life, your mind has the space to quiet down, to focus, to live in the now. Bring it more mindfulness, more joy to your life itself. Number 8. Practice meditation. Buddhism is a central practice around meditation as a very effective tool for countering overthinking. Meditating is like starting a long course of training our minds to drop out of flogging the overflow of thoughts and focusing on the same point. This focus could be as simple as the rhythm of your breathing, a repeating meaningful mantra, or it can be a mental picture that's engaging, peaceful, and calming. When your thoughts are determining power, as you meditate, you gently learn to bring them back to anchor if you notice them be drawn up a path of analysis. It's as if we become intentionally aware of retraining our thoughts out of this ingrained cycle of overthinking that can seem like it works on its own. Regular meditation practice starts to prepare an inner environment of calm. This sense of tranquility keeps growing over time, and this externalizes its presence over your day-to-day life. This is not a quick fix, it's a gradual process of mental training. You deepen your meditation skills and deepen your capacity to maintain inner equilibrium as life inevitably changes. It teaches you to watch your own thoughts without losing yourself in them, and helps you gain a higher degree of mental control and serenity. Number 9. Focus on helpful thoughts. Right thought, or right thinking, as it is put in Buddhism, is one of the key components of a mindful and wholesome life. The underlying notion to this is to be aware of the thoughts you allow in your mind. According to Buddha's teachings, we should think consciously about thoughts that assist in the welfare both of ourselves and of others. This exercise plays out when you choose to focus on thoughts that are positive and constructive for yourself, but for those around you as well. They might be thoughts of kindness, compassion, generosity, of gratitude. If we do so, we're creating a headspace where those thoughts can germinate and make us act and behave in constructive ways. We also need to release thoughts that are not helpful, like anger, envy, resentment, or worry. When we notice them and let go of them, then we open up mind space that otherwise would have been occupied by overthinking or focusing on the stress-inducing topics. It's a practice of intentional shaping of our mental landscape in a way that helps it be peaceful, compassionate, and well. The power is in that, recognizing the power of our thoughts and deciding to use those that lead to a more fulfilling existence for ourselves and anyone else around us. This practice is in sync with the very heart of the Buddhist precepts of mindfulness and compassion, and provides a beautifully simple and helpful guide for anyone who would like to lead a more harmonious life. Number 10. Embrace impermanence. The central concept in Buddhism is anicca, impermanence. Everything is always changing. It's in a constant flux. It teaches that everything's always changing. Impermanence can be very liberating when used on the issue of overthinking. It's about seeing the overthinking, all things, as temporary. Same as seasons come and go, we also come and go mentally. With impermanence, we learn to live in a way that conveys a surprising ease in our lives. Acceptance allows us to loosen that crazy need for control and certainty in a world that is ever changing. At times, we may be overthinking, but then we know that it will pass. It brings us the reminder that even our most devastating thoughts and strong emotions are not forever, so we can be more distant and compassionate towards them. There are timeless teachings of Buddha to free our minds from the cycle of overthinking. It is these teachings on mindfulness, beginning to observe our thoughts without judgment, and on the middle way, not going to extremes with our mental processes. What helps us be more peaceful, mindful, is letting go of attachments, cultivating compassion, practicing patience, simplifying the life, engaging in meditation, focusing on the helpful thought, and embracing the impermanence. With Buddha's wisdom, we are walked through the stormy seas of our thoughts and emotions toward the calm stream of mindfulness. The application of these teachings in our everyday lives helps break us free from overthinking and stress and anxiety and promote inner peace. As we step onto this amazing revolution, not just for our own sake, but for the good of humanity, one thought at a time, we feel relief and more. Thanks for watching. If you found this video helpful, like, share and subscribe our channel, and stay tuned with us for more meaningful and helpful videos.